Narcissistic people don't ghost because they stopped caring. They ghost because they found a new supply. And when that supply stops working, that's when they come back. This is a cycle psychologists call hoovering, and the cards here actually describe the entire cycle. We've got the Hermit. We've got the Ace of Swords. I can already tell these are out of order. Woo. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. The Knight of Shields, Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and the Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay. I see. Okay. So it seems that we're going to start with, why do they ghost? They just completely abandon you, even though everything seemed fine just a minute ago, right? So the ghosting is the Hermit. That's where you are forced into, Lancelot is in exile in this deck, but you are forced into isolation, having no choice but to reflect on everything, except without the closure that the Hermit usually has. And the reason for that, we're going to come back to this one. You have put in all the work. You gave all the money. You did all the support, all the resources, all the everything. But you're not as easy to manipulate anymore. You're starting to catch on to their patterns. You are no longer receiving inspiration from the person with high levels of narcissism, and they are no longer receiving your blind justice, your blind chivalry, for lack of a better word. And so they find someone new. They need to find someone new first. They're not going to just leave you until they've got someone else. And honestly, if we are talking about narcissism specifically, they are often talking about that person with you and triangulating them into fights with you. So, like, oh, I say it to this person and they don't care, or whatever. Anyway, whole different subject, and very more specific and clinical. And I am not licensed or qualified to do that. So, anyway. So they find someone new and they move on. They're done. So let's actually just put those back in. All right. So let's jump to the coming back part, and then we'll fill in the blanks from there. Why do they come back? Like, seemingly out of nowhere, just like the way they left. We've got the Six of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Three of Swords in reverse. Okay, because they remember the past fondly. You have good memories. You took good care of them. You know, they don't remember the bad things. And we'll get to that in a second. They remember that you really did fill their cups. And you really didn't ask for them to fill yours. Or maybe you asked, but you didn't demand it. You didn't enforce your boundaries. And they're hoping you're still like that. And then we have the Three of Swords in reverse, which for me, the Three of Swords is the ultimate betrayal. It is the most painful card in the deck. Partnered nicely with the Queen of Swords, who is the person that has emerged because of this trauma. So, but it's in reverse. So again, they don't remember that. They don't think about how they hurt you. They don't think about how you hurt them. Whether it's just perceived or actual, because this dynamic can go both ways. So Um, but they don't remember why things fell apart. They don't remember what went wrong in the first place. And they certainly don't remember, if you made that choice to leave, they certainly don't remember why. Okay. So we know why they ghost. We know why they come back. So what's missing? What does the collective need to know in order to help break from the cycle, heal from any past pain, start seeing more of the red flags, whatever guidance you have for them, Spirit? What else do they need to know? Okay. So we actually have 2 hidden cards here, and we'll get to that. But we have the Nine of Cups, which is basically the battle's done and you're doing all the healing before being able to reap the rewards of all the fighting, of all the endurance. We have the Strength card, which is pretty aptly named. We have the Four of Swords, which is a brief respite between battles, and it's hiding the Ace of Swords, which we saw that earlier as the new person. So keep that in mind. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles, which is hiding the Knight of Swords in reverse. So here's what happens. They take everything that they can from you. Everything you allow them to take. And when they feel like they're at their best self, then they start to see, that you're a full human and you have your own needs and wants. And doesn't really understand that partnerships are a give and take. They make you feel strong, or I'm sorry, you make them feel strong. Definitely not the other way around. They make you feel sufficient. And then they find someone else. Generally speaking, it's when the healing is a lesser degree. They're not getting as much as they used to from you. So they find someone else, but they don't tell you about it. At least not the full extent of it. Again, triangulation is a thing, but that's a different reading for a different day. And then they get the happily ever after that they think. They get the abundance, the stability, all the things that they think they want. And they continue to hide who they are. Ooh. They refuse to reflect. And they don't care about the chaos. They just keep going. It's really not about, the person that they're harming. It's just what they need. There's that Queen of Swords. Except in reverse, she's refusing to deal with that pain. So this is going to be the person with high levels of narcissism, but, they refuse to do the introspection. They refuse to do the work. They refuse to look inside themselves whatsoever, because how could they possibly be wrong? Sorry, moving these up a little bit. The problem is that they're going to have the same results with everyone, because it's a pattern, kind of pattern thinking almost. Um, you know, they go through this cycle and then they get what they need and then they feel good about themselves. And then things start to fall apart because they're not allowed to stay in that good spot because, you know, that's life. But they want to play the victim and that's what they do. And then they move on. And then that person goes through the exact same thing. And it's just one giant cycle that never ends because they will not, cannot do the work. I shouldn't say cannot. So anything is possible with therapy if someone goes with an earnest desire to actually do the work and figure out why they don't have stable relationships. But if they're not doing the work for themselves, it's not going to happen. So they're going to keep sucking you into it as long as you let them. That's why they keep coming back. What else do they need to know? Any other guidance for them? We have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. Okay. They don't care about your happy ending. They don't care about your stability. They don't care about your utopia. They only care about their own. So even if you give them everything they want, everything, they're still that same person. They're still going to be manipulative and other such toxic behaviors. They're going to keep doing what they always do because they are incapable of learning. When it comes to high levels of narcissism and other such toxic traits, to do the work would actually put them into a crisis of identity, sort of, because they would have to challenge everything they've known and believed their entire lives, and accept that they're wrong. And that is one thing they are terrified to do. So if they're not willing to come out of that cycle, you cannot force them, but they can keep taking from you as long as you let them. So I know this is short, but that's what I got for you, and I'll see you in the next one.